Today we're going to do an interesting variation on French toast, which is not French, by the way. Where did it come from? I'll tell you in a little bit. But today's variation is strawberry mascarpone stuffed French toast. We have to do two different things. We have to make our stuffing and we have to make our French toast. We're going to get going with that as we begin to cut the strawberries. Now, I did the strawberries the night before because I had to put sugar on top of them, as you'll see. And then I stuck it in the refrigerator so that the strawberries would macerate, which is a fancy term. You got to say that right and be very careful. You macerate. Yeah, okay, got it. Whew, wow. Always want to make sure I say that right. So it makes a sauce, okay, or a little bit of juice to go along with the strawberries. And we're going to mix that up here in just a second. Okay, today's recipe will make 4 servings. I'm only going to make 2 servings because there's only 2 of us here to eat it. But as far as 8 servings are concerned, you would use 8 ounces of mascarpone cheese. So that's a full container. You'll notice I'm only going to use half that container because, like I said, I'm only making 2 servings today. All right. With that, we want 1/8 of a cup of powdered sugar, and we want 2 cups of macerated strawberries, which means they have all their wonderful, lovely juice. I'm going to pour that in there and mix that up. That, my friends, is going to be a lovely stuffing. And I think I screwed up. I think I have too much juice. You may want to pour out some of your juice, but I'm going to leave it just like that. Now that we have it sufficiently mixed, I must tell you that I left the mascarpone out for about an hour so it would come to room temperature. And you say, what if I can't find mascarpone cheese? Or what do I do if I don't like mascarpone? You can substitute it for cream cheese, but make sure you get it to room temperature so it's nice and soft. You might even want to try and use that cream cheese whipped spread because that is really easy to work with and to mix in the strawberries. Are you ready to get going with the French toast? I know I am. Now the fun part, we're going to be making some great French toast. You don't even need the stuffing because this is going to come out so delicious. But let's go all the way with this. We've got a couple of eggs. We're going to use some cinnamon. We're going to use a splash of nutmeg. We're going to use some vanilla extract. That's homemade, by the way. We're going to use half a cup of milk. We're also going to use about 1/8 to 1/4 of a cup of regular granulated sugar. And today's difference, everybody says use challah or use Texas toast. We're going to use, raisin bread, the swirl raisin. That's going to, that's going to be so delicious. Are you ready? Let's put some stuff together and let's start mixing this. All right. I shouldn't be singing, right? That's a terrible thing. All right, with the eggs beaten, let's put in some cinnamon. I put in a ton of cinnamon. Don't ask me what the measurement is. That should be about, 2 tops. Way to go, Einstein. You can never have enough vanilla. I know everybody's looking at me like, damn, look how much vanilla he's using. And that's just my penchant for that. But on the other hand, nutmeg, you want to go sparingly. Just enough to know that it's there, but you don't want it to overpower the whole dish because if you put too much in, it will overpower it. Okay? We're going to get ready to start dipping and frying next. Most important thing we're going to do is we're going to coat the pan with butter to begin with, and that way we're all set. Of course, it's not completely up to temperature now, but at least the butter is melted. Personally, I prefer to use Crisco for regular French toast because I think it gives it a crispier outside. But today I'm going to go back to the traditional butter because we've got so much flavoring going on and we don't really want to put a crispy edge on the raisins. Our butter is sufficiently melted and I've got just, you don't want to forget that step. That's an important step. Dip it and fry it. You notice I don't leave it in there to soak like forever. I believe that not soaking it, even on traditional French toast, makes it keep a nice consistency in the middle with the bread. On a medium-high heat, we fried the French toast about 2 to 3 minutes, closer to 3 minutes per side. And that way you can kind of keep an eye on it because it's not like regular French toast. It already has some dark color to it. But now comes the fun. We're going to take our stuffing and we're going to put it on there. Ready? Ooh, that's going to be so good. Good and messy and satisfying and fun and yum. We used to have a friend that came over. Here's the story I was going to tell you before. We used to have a friend that came over all the time for dinner, and it got kind of tiresome, you know. He would amazingly show up at dinner time. Oh my, imagine that. And we just kind of wanted him not to come over anymore. So at the time we had a dog, little dog named Snoopy. I know, how original. And when we were done with dinner, I put the plates down on the floor and let Snoopy lick them. And he got them all clean. I said, wow, look at that, hon. He did a pretty good job. What do you say there, my friend? He says, yeah, did a good job. And I promptly put the dishes right back in the cupboard. That was the last time we ever saw him. Let's cover this up. And we get ready to cut it so we can present it nicely. All right, I've cut them in half, and we put our little serving on the plate. I love putting on the powdered sugar because it just looks so gourmet and like you've done an awful lot of work. On top of that, I'm going to put some fresh, cold, sliced strawberries onto the plate. If I can get them to cooperate with me. They can really go anywhere. Doesn't have to be any specific place, just so it looks nice. And on top of that, I'm going to set up some blueberries. Just let them fall where they may. Now, personally, I want maple syrup on mine because I'm a maple syrup junkie. I grew up in upstate New York City, no, upstate New York. And we were right next to Vermont, and we always had fresh maple syrup every season. Couldn't wait to go tapping the trees and bring it home from Vermont and boil it up. It was delicious. I did forget to tell you where French toast came from. It's not from France. Believe it or not, it's from the Roman Empire. The very first documented recipe dipping eggs and milk and bread together was back in the Roman times. So it's been around for a long time. I'm going to enjoy this because that's what you're supposed to do. Remember, good food doesn't have to be complicated. For cooking in a flannel shirt, thanks for joining us.